Hi, welcome to another one of my video blogs. I'm author and historian Mike Ricksecker. This is another one of my book haul video blogs, and what I'm going to do today is something that's a little different. I don't have a stack of books. I have it's a Kindle. Yeah, it's a Kindle book haul. I've been recently getting more books on the Kindle. Just because of my commute in the morning. I have about a half an hour on the metro, and so it's kind of a lot easier to take the Kindle with me. It's you know, a little bit thinner. I can do other things as well, you know, like type up emails or whatever if I need to, and things like that. So it's a Kindle Fire. It's not just a straight up Kindle. But I've been doing a lot more reading of actual ebooks and things like that on there, which I didn't really used to do in the past. It does kind of bother me trying to read off of a computer screen, which is kind of like a mini computer screen, and I'm also kind of used to when I read through a book, you know, an actual hard copy book, I have a semi-photographic memory, so as I'm reading, I take note of where different things are at, so that in the future, if I'm talking to somebody about a particular book and something that I've read within that book, I can actually pick it up off the shelf and essentially almost flip right to it, because I'll remember basically like about how far within the book it was, you know, whether the information was on the right hand side or left hand side of the book, you know, that sort of stuff. You don't really get that with a Kindle. So it's just really kind of ease of use of portability that I use it. So in any case, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into this, and I'll start with, I guess, what's the oldest on here. I do have some you know, books that I reviewed and things like that, a couple of my own works, but the first one is, see here, here's the Kindle. So, Robbie Thomas in Time Shift. Robbie Thomas, he's a good friend of mine, but his works are very good as well. With Time Shift, when you read through this, you know, it's a thriller, really, and there's a lot of course, paranormal type stuff like that in there, but the events that happen throughout the book, a lot of them have actually come true. And if you go to his website, robbiethomas.net, yeah, Robbie, I'm giving you a plug, because website robbiethomas.net, and look under the Time Shift page, you'll see a lot of those different events that were listed. So like one of them was the tsunami in Japan and things like that. So okay, so next, I guess I have to scroll back through again. Okay, now this one's not so fun. Divorce Casualties. Understanding Parental Alienation. Alienation. Yeah, that's basically from when I was going through my divorce. Parental alienation is, and the casualties would basically be, you know, of course, the children throughout it all. And if one person is basically if the one parent is keeping the other parent alienated from the children in different ways that the kids can be manipulated, or the situation manipulated, and things like that. I don't want to go into too many details of that, but it's stuff that I've had to deal with. So, and hopefully we're starting to move beyond all of that. Okay, so next up is one of my own Deadly Heirs. I got it for Kindle to see how it would show up on the Kindle. Of course, I've read it like a billion times, so that's my first one, Deadly Heirs. In fact, that's actually the original Deadly Heirs. The 10th anniversary edition is out now. So next we have, I think it was another Robbie Thomas, yeah. Robbie Thomas Parasylum. This is his first one in the series. He has 3 of them out. I did the foreword for the third one, so check that out. But this one, basically, it's a horror thriller paranormal story, and it takes place within a haunted insane asylum. So next, if we get this to work, we have Lawrence Block, If You Can't Stand the Heat. Now, I actually have not read this. It's on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. It's kind of there in case a day pops up where, you know, I finish a book and I have nothing else to read and I still got a lot of time left. So, I mean, I like Lawrence Block. I've read some of his other books, like The Burglar Who Traded Ted Williams. That's, yeah, of course, you know, with me, you know, loving baseball, especially the Red Sox with Ted Williams and all that. Of course, that was right up my alley. It's a mystery. So, yeah, I like Lawrence Block, so I'll get to that one of these days. Okay, here's me again, System of the Dead. And again, I have that on here to check the formatting, which it still needs to be tweaked with System of the Dead. I was just kind of looking through it the other day. I was like, man, this needs to be fixed up a little bit. But yeah, that's the sequel to Deadly Heirs. Okay, next, a classic, Les Mis, Victor Hugo. So can't go wrong there. You know, that was I think that was a freebie one day out there, so I grabbed it. Yeah, you can't go wrong with classics. So we'll have a couple more classics as well. And that didn't show up right. So Dennis Lehane, Shutter Island. So the I suspect most people have probably seen the movie. Book is better, so grab the book. Books usually are. And then these next two, these are both Andrea Perron's last two books. I have her first book as a hard copy, so I read through all that and dove right into the second. And it was one of those, I didn't want to wait a few days for it to come in the mail, so I went ahead and grabbed it on my Kindle. Yeah, her first one, of course, I grabbed that when I met her a few years ago, and you know, it was all autographed. So I don't have I don't have hard copies of the second two in autograph, but she's a good friend. So this second one, House of Darkness, House of Light. This one focuses more on when the Warrens were checking out the house. The first book is kind of like an all-inclusive, you know, here's a lot of, you know, backstory and stuff that happened. There's so much more that happened at this house than what's shown in The Conjuring. You know, it's very, the real story is quite different from what really happened. What really happened over a span of 10 years, and there's so much stuff that happened. So that's number two, and she's a fantastic writer, very inspirational. There's a lot of stuff within her books that's actually very poetic, and inspirational and uplifting and things like that. So she gets very spiritual. And then that's the third one. And the third one is, you know, as they're leaving the house, when they're finally move out of it, and the things that happened, some of the things that happened after they moved out of the house. So definitely very interesting. If you want to know the whole real story, get those. Okay, essays by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Anybody's been watching my morning mugs, you probably caught a couple months ago the Transcendentalism. I have a hard time saying the word. Transcendentalism and Rocky Balboa. I put the two together. And Ralph Waldo Emerson is one of those early influential writers through that movement. So I had his essays, and the other one that I went through was Walden by Henry David Thoreau. And this one is, you know, of course, quite interesting because he was living in a very small cabin out in the woods by Walden Pond, which is why it's called Walden. And the cabin is still there. I don't think it's the actual original cabin. I think it's a replica, but you can actually go there and visit the cabin and things like that. So it's kind of his adventures and insights and things like that while he was actually living out there by the pond. So following Walden, okay. Mysteries of the Church of Darkness. This is one of my ghost story and case files, which I have. I made an announcement when I did my IGT book signing the other day. There's actually a ghost story and case files full book coming out for Halloween. So, and this will be one of the stories included in it. Excuse me. So this is the only ghost story and case file I actually have on my Kindle, which is kind of interesting because usually I load up all my stuff on here just to make sure the formatting. So I don't know why that's the only one that's on here. Maybe I might have deleted the others just to make room. Although there's a ton of room. Okay, now we're getting into some interesting stuff. The 3 waves of volunteers in the New Earth, Dolores Cannon. For those of you that don't know, Dolores Cannon did a lot of, she passed away, I think it was like a year or 2 ago. But she did a lot of hypnosis and past life regression work, and followed that up with a lot of books, you know, concerning the things that she was discovering as she was doing the past life regression. So quite interesting, the things that she was able to discover from that. Okay, Zecharia Sitchin, the 12th planet. How do I want to say I got into this? After I read Dolores Cannon, and Andrea put me onto Dolores. Well, she put me on to Emerson, Thoreau, and then Dolores Cannon. So yeah, she kind of had me going through a series of books. So thank you, Andrea. She has some other ones she's recommended that I haven't started yet, because after I read Dolores, I started just poking around, doing some of my own, just kind of looking for information online about some different things, and I came across this. And of course, I've heard the name before, but hadn't read any of his work. And what I like about Sitchin's work is he gets really, really in depth to the old Sumerian texts and legends, and the actual inscriptions, the cuneiform inscriptions that were on the different tablets, and he actually, you know, has the pictures of the different inscriptions and all that. So it's really, really detailed. Of course, he ends up taking that and starts talking about the 12th planet Nibiru that is supposed to, you know, get close to Earth every 3,600 years. So I'm not sure how much I buy into all of that, but all of the stuff about the Sumerian texts and origins of the human race and things like that, the Anunnaki, all of that history and those types of things are very, very interesting. So after that, and this is the last one, we went even a step further with Eric von Daniken's Chariot of the Gods, and actually it didn't show up with the cover for some reason, and it didn't for Shutter Island either. But yeah, so of course with this is the ancient alien stuff, which basically Sitchin stuff is kind of along those lines too. But you know, the reason why I guess I started going down that line and looking into those sorts of things is just to see what other ideas are out there about the origins of the Earth, about ancient history, and about where we may all come from, and you know, whether or not you believe that's from aliens or not. And I'm not saying that that's what I believe, but what I find interesting is how, you know, history is very subjective. You know, there's a lot of things that are interpreted and not necessarily set in stone. I like to keep an open mind and get a fresh take on different things. So, you know, as I'm trying to learn and uncover my own secrets about the world and how it works and the origins and where everything came from, I'm going to look at the traditional viewpoints, which I've been learning about for the last 40 years. And I'm going to start looking at the new stuff and see what they have to say and see where it jives, and see how each of those line up with the things that I discover. Because I think I'm going to probably learn something or figure something out in between the two. That's usually what happens when I get into this sort of stuff, is that what I end up discovering is that nobody has it 100% right. You know, these guys over here with the traditional viewpoint, they got stuff wrong. These guys with the ancient alien theories and all that, they got stuff wrong. It's somewhere in the middle. I guess it's that whole three sides to every story: your story, my story, and the truth. So their story, and whatever the truth is, and even what I come up with will probably be wrong to some degree. But see, that's why we'll keep going. That it's living research. It's always subjected to change. So in any case, that is my well, again, I don't know why I got into all that. That is my Kindle book haul. So I guess if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and leave comments below. You know, I always like to hear feedback here, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. If you have not yet, please subscribe. Until next time.